Chapter 5 Broken Empire. The demise of the Holy Favarian Empire played out over a single day. Callie and her friends watched it play out on a television screen. Unwilling to interact with Okepi or Van, Callie, Dak, and Teak brought a widescreen tablet computer to the brig and propped it up on the wall. Looking through her cell door, Ruto was able to watch the events with her friends as they played out. On the very last day of peace, Galactic Empress Kentrep announced she would deliver a speech tomorrow. She was going to talk about a major political reform she was planning. People speculated wildly about what she would say, what she would do. But the speculation only lasted for a short period of time. Somehow, the plan leaked. Kentrep was planning to reorganize the Holy Favarian Empire into a new polity called the Galactic Imperium. She was going to do away with the indolent policies of her predecessors. The vassal states were going to lose the self-rule they had enjoyed for 1,000 years, and the Galactic Empress would seize direct control of her dominion, the first Favarian in more than a millennium to do so. Within an hour of the leak, unrest and public anger started to transform into revolt and armed rebellion. The Kelazon Republic was the first to declare independence. The insectoid nation sealed their interstellar borders to all traffic, while Kelazak soldiers seized Favarian bases and outposts. After that, the avalanche began. The news reporters had trouble keeping up as word of uprisings poured in from all across the galaxy. When the state of Alaria declared independence, Callie gasped and hugged Dak as tightly as she could. Ruto felt deeply conflicted. She was terrified Alaria would draw the wrath of the soon-to-be Imperium and crushed. The news agency attempted to report on the theft of the Stellaris, but that was when the first report of violence came in. During the night, there was an assassination attempt on Galactic Empress Kentrep. A group of armed assailants breached the Imperial Palace and engaged the guards in a gun battle. Kentrep survived, but it quickly became apparent that none of the vassal states were responsible for the attack. A faction of Favarians living in the Outer Rim claimed responsibility for the attack. They announced their objective was to overthrow Kentrep and establish the Great Favarian Empire. In retaliation, the Imperial Navy turned its weapons against the throne world, targeting cities that sympathized with the rebels. By this point, it was all over. Across dozens of planets, violence erupted as the Imperial military found itself under attack from all directions. The news reporters on screen, looking very distraught, promised to continue broadcasting for as long as possible. The heavy door opened, and the two SOF officers entered the brig. Commodore Insteb and Captain Baerin looked at the four Alari with mournful expressions. "So it's finally happened," Van said. "The Favarians have finished. Their empire is dead. Alaria is free." Dak turned away from the screen, unable to watch the new reports of attacks and violence. "Did you see the reports from the other planets?" Dak breathed. "This is no uprising. This is a civil war, the likes of which no one has ever seen. There hasn't been a full-scale war in over 1,000 years. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to die, maybe millions." "True. We are at the end of an era," said Commodore Insteb. "Now we must ensure that Alaria survives the chaos and is able to have a strong starting position once the new era begins. That is why we are here." The Favarian folded his arms. "I owe you an explanation. I was born on Alaria, in the Imperial garrison," the Commodore said. "I learned about the Alari principles of egalitarianism at a young age. They made more sense to me than the hopelessly out-of-date tenets of the Holy Favarian Empire. I joined the Alari Armed Forces as soon as I was old enough, although I'm not the first Favarian to join the AAF. He and I were recruited into the Special Operating Forces about 1.5 years ago, Van explained. The SOF has been convinced the Empire was going to collapse for quite some time, and they've been preparing for it. Okepi and I have been given multiple missions to carry out over a single operation, and that operation started with repossessing this ship. Now, we need to talk about what happens next, as well as why you four need to come with us. Callie stood behind Dak, showing only part of her face as Van continued. First off, we're not going directly to Alaria. We will be detouring to 4 crucial locations along the way. First, we are going to Chor's Compass, Okepi said. We are going to need both Dak and Callie to join us for a short mission at Trade Station Tungal, home of the Caravansary Caravan Coalition. It will not be a combat mission, so your skills in battle won't be needed. However, we need to exploit Dak's fame as a dragon slayer and Callie's technical prowess. Second, Okepi said before anyone could interrupt, we must use the Gateway Network to reach Luthadriel. The necrophages of Tufsin are based in that system, and they are the only other necroids in the galaxy. We need to carry out a short operation on their planet before moving on. We need Teak for this mission. Why me? Teak demanded to know. Because you are a qualified starfighter pilot, and you have a history of flying on arid planets, and your service record shows you have no sense of self-preservation, Van said candidly. Once we are finished with the Necro Mages, we will press on to the Hasbazin Syndicate, a criminal organization not far from Alaria. Ruto, your services will be required for a mission there. I need you to meet a contact at the human Hasbuzi border crossing. No way, Ruto shouted through the cell door. I'm not helping you. Again, none of you get a choice in this, Van said. The ANC has signed off on the entire operation. Now, after the Hasbuzan, we'll cross the border into the human reservation. Callie and Teak, you're both going to be needed for a mission to Concord. Concord? Teak said. What the heck is that? It's the moon of Alaria, Callie replied. The moon is fully militarized, no civilian population. Just human and Alari bases everywhere. I've never been there, but I've met humans who have. Oh, come on! You want us to blow up an army base on Concord? Dak protested. Actually, we need you to deliver something to our human contacts on Concord, Okepi answered. And don't worry, it is not going to explode. Killing you would make it impossible for us to complete our final mission. Final mission? Callie said. Isn't that just delivering the ship to Alar Station? Delivering the ship is part of it, yes, Van confessed. But there is another part. We need to deliver Dak here to one of our contacts in the city of Ratia. Callie startled. Ratia? She repeated. That's my hometown. My whole family is there. Why the hell does Dak need to go there? Okepi shook his head. Many apologies, Okepi said, but we are under explicit instructions not to tell you any details about that particular assignment. You can't tell us. Really? Dak said, raising his eyebrow. No, Van said, waving a hand. We cannot tell Callie Dekara any of the details. The instructions on our mission brief explicitly mention Callie by name, that she must be left out of the loop on the final part of the mission. The other 3 are allowed to know. So you're going to tell us then, Teak said. Not until it is absolutely necessary, Okepi said, folding his arms again. You 4 are close to each other. I have no doubts that you'll inform Callie as soon as we divulge the crucial details. So everything stays under wraps until the right time. I don't like this, Callie said. I don't like this either, Dak added. Regardless of whether you like the arrangement, everything we discussed is going to happen, Okebi said. The Stellaris is already underway for Chore's compass. We need to move quickly, as some of these missions are time-sensitive. If all is done correctly, and if the hyper relays and gateways stay open, then we should return to Alaria in about 3 months. That should give plenty of time for tempers to cool and unit cohesion to build. Okebi cast his dead-looking eyes at Callie and Van. You've got another thing coming if you think I'm going to work with him, Callie growled, nodding her head at Van. Van raised his hands in a gesture of surrender. I realize we aren't going to fix all of our problems overnight, Van said, but rest assured, Callie, you've been on my mind constantly, ever since that brief encounter in Ratia 2.5 years ago. Our parents could not have made a better choice, and I know in my heart that before long you'll come to agree with me on that front. I'll see you in hell before that ever happens, Callie spat. You'll have to go through me first, Dak added. Okebi seemed to look concerned for the first time, and he shot a nervous glance at Van, the type of expression one uses when things are not going to plan. For his part, Van laughed. Commander Jabassim, I think it would be best if we let the interested party decide for herself. Callie retreated behind Dak's frame, hiding from view. From the safety of her boyfriend, Callie raised her voice and called out, Helper bot! Van Be'erin is banned from engineering. Post security droids at the entrances and don't let him in. With a series of friendly beeps and whistles, Helperbot's voice replied over the intercom. Well, I'll be happy to do that, Helperbot declared. It just warms my circuits to keep you safe. Van shrugged and lowered his hands. I can see you need your space while you sort out your feelings, he said. I'll stick to the command deck for now, but remember, Callie, my door is always open when you're ready to talk. Van left the brig. Teak and Dak both closed ranks around Callie, shielding her as Okebi took a step forward. It's going to be a long 3 months, Okebi said, and this will all go much smoother if we can work together. If that cannot happen, I can and will crack the whip. Then he turned his attention to Ruto's cell door. Your loyalty to the Holy Favarian Empire is commendable. You're staying in there until we get to Hasbuzi territory. Then Okebi left as well. Callie, Teak, Dak, and Ruto were left in a state of total shock. They barely noticed the large tablet computer on the floor where Dak dropped it. The news program was still playing, the words of the reporter lost in the terror of the moment. For those of you just joining us, Her Imperial Majesty Kentrep has just delivered her much-anticipated speech, officially reorganizing the Holy Favarian Empire into the Galactic Imperium. In her statement, the Galactic Empress said this action is to promote peace and stability in the face of recent unrest throughout various regions of the galaxy. In other news, diplomats from the Skildari Confederacy and State of Alaria have arrived on the planet Hyverion to start discussions on the creation of a military alliance between their nations. The proposed diplomatic agreement is referred to simply as the Interstellar Treaty, and would be the first such agreement between star nations in over 1,000 years. Many political analysts speculate this proposed military alliance could become a rival to the new Galactic Imperium were other star nations to join.